Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. My name is Katherine and today I'm going to be talking to you about ways to spice up adoration. I know that might sound a little bit silly, but I think I have about 4, 5, 6 tips, I don't know, we'll see how many make it into this video, about ways to maybe switch up your routine in adoration. I think this will really help out your relationship with Christ because let's face it, our relationships are just always changing, right? My relationship with my parents, my friends, my family is different right now because I just turned 30 than it was 10 years ago when I was 20. And it should be different. We should be evolving and doing new things because everything gets stale. And of course, as always, please let me know in the comments below if you have any tips or tricks for adoration. I would love to hear them. My first way to switch things up in adoration would be to bring your phone, bring some headphones, listen to some praise and worship music, listen to Bible in a Year podcasts, listen to other Catholic podcasts, anything you can do to help you meditate. Personally, for me, I struggle sometimes with meditating, but something that really helps me out is praise and worship music, specifically if you're listening to something like Matt Maher. I think it is great to listen to praise and worship music and focus on the lyrics themselves. Maybe I'll link some of my favorite praise and worship songs down below. Something like the song, Lord, I Need You. Lord, I need you. Oh, I need you. Every hour I need you. That's so true. Maybe you'll forget that. Maybe you just think, oh, I need to go to adoration to get my hour in because I'm doing that for Lent, or I'm doing that for Advent, or I'm just doing it in the summer because I have nothing to do. Make sure you're listening and realizing, yes, I need to be with Jesus. Maybe praise and worship music is not your jam, but you know what? You've been struggling with the Bible in your podcast. Why don't you bring it to adoration? Or you're reading the Bible in your podcast again, or catechism year, whatever. Bring it to the Lord, because for me personally, I was listening to it in the car. I would sometimes listen to it in adoration, and that really helped. Maybe it's because I was in the presence of Jesus, so I was more focused. I'm not focused on the road. I'm not focused on getting distracted by other things. I think another great thing you can do with that is to listen to the Rosary, either maybe on YouTube or on the Hallow app or something like that, while you're in adoration and praying. And how many times have you been there? You're in the adoration chapel, maybe it's a small chapel, and you see, some sweet old lady over there praying the Rosary and she's saying everything out loud and you could hear her and it distracts you. This is why I love when I see people have their headphones in. I can tell by the way they're holding the beads that they are praying the Rosary or the Divine Mercy Chaplet or, what have you. If you think people will judge you for having your phone out in adoration, you're only bringing it out for what, like 2 minutes tops to look something up and listen to it. Keep your phone on focus mode, make sure you're not getting notifications, and just be there with Jesus. You're kind of like on a date with Jesus. It's just you and him hanging out. My next tip would be to get comfortable. What do I mean by that? I've seen so many people who go to the adoration chapel and they're on their knees for a solid hour. Hey, that's great, but if that's starting to cause you pain, sit down, relax, be with Jesus, especially if you're going to an overnight adoration. If anyone else has been to an overnight adoration, we have the 2 to 6 a.m. session that you have to cover adoration. I mean, I personally have, and I forgot to bring a pillow and blanket. That would have made things a lot easier. You don't necessarily want to, especially if you only have a limited time in adoration, be so comfortable that you're going to have your mind drifting off and you're not going to stay focused on Jesus. But definitely let yourself be comfortable. So if you're not focused on the pain of kneeling or being uncomfortable, be comfortable so you can really just focus on Jesus. Focus on that relationship with Christ in that moment. And that's definitely going to help you with meditating. Don't be focused on your posture as much as you are focused on Jesus. I mean, if you're in a big church and you have the pews and you want to just kind of sit on your side, I personally love to do that. I like being on the floor because then Jesus is above me and it feels more like a father-daughter dynamic for me. You imagine father or grandfather or what have you sitting on a chair with all the children at his feet. I see that posture when I am sitting on the floor in the Eucharist. It feels childlike. It does not feel childish. I think childish would be like if I was doing board games or something on the floor. But if I'm just sitting on the floor worshiping Jesus. My next tip would be to journal, but also to bring old journals. I know this is not for everyone, but I really want everyone to try it. I personally have been using journals since middle school, and it's really great to bring old journals to adoration and see what I was thinking about back in the day and see how much my life has changed, but maybe also how much my life has stayed the same. See where those lulls in my relationship with Christ have been and where lulls in relationships with other people have been, and see how maybe I've remedied them, maybe I've switched them, maybe I've had to cut off relationships. But just write love letters to Jesus, I think. Again, back in middle school, writing in diaries, they really were diaries. I was just writing about girls at school, my parents, blah, blah, all stuff like that. Whereas now I have this Jesus journal. I call them Jesus journals, where I'm literally just writing, maybe not always love letters, because sometimes, I mean, come on, I'm human. I can get annoyed with God, but just writing letters to Jesus. You don't necessarily need to write Dear Jesus, but just write the date. I think it's very important to write the date and the day specifically of the week. If it's a Wednesday, Saturday, what have you, write that information down and then write about your day, anything you're reflecting on, maybe something you need help with from Jesus, something you hope for the future, your expectations. I always say try not to have expectations, but you can have hope. Just write down your day and write down anything you want to say to Jesus. It's okay if you cry during that. I mean, I had a sob session a few weeks ago. It's really just about you and Jesus. It's about you and Christ. We as Catholics, we truly believe that that is Jesus. So write down anything you want to tell him. And of course, write it in adoration is going to help that much more. One little thing that might help you kind of spice up the relationship with Christ is to have a picture specifically of your favorite image of Jesus. It could be an image of Jesus as a child. It could be a nativity scene. It could be an image of Jesus with the disciples. It could be an image of Jesus with Mary, with Joseph, with anyone. You know, there's Divine Mercy image. Find an image of Jesus that you need right now, because of course Jesus is our Father, our friend. He was also a human. He's also a baby at one point. Maybe you need to pray to the baby Jesus. Maybe you need to pray to God the Father. Just have an image. And I know, yes, Jesus is present in the Eucharist, of course, but maybe you need that image to help you remind you that Jesus is present in the Eucharist. So take a look at that image, take a look at the Eucharist, and go with that. When you're in the Adoration Chapel, maybe there's only 5 or 6 other people in the chapel, maybe there's more, maybe there's less. Say a little prayer. Say a little prayer for everyone in the Adoration Chapel. It's going to leave you feeling a lot better. One other thing I want to mention is, I know some people, if you live in the suburbs, your church might be open during the day. Personally, for me, I live in a city, so my church is not open during the day, but I can call, get a key, and I can go into the church. So maybe the Eucharist is not exposed, but the tabernacle is there. We have the opportunity to go and pray in front of a tabernacle, and maybe we might be praying by ourselves in front of the tabernacle. I personally like to speak out loud to the tabernacle when I'm by myself. I know that might make me sound like a crazy person. I'm embarrassed kind of to admit it on my YouTube channel, but pray out loud in front of the tabernacle if that's going to help you. Give it a shot. Try it out. Just if you don't want to journal, just say it out loud. Again, you can only do this if nobody else is in the church because you don't want to be annoying. Just say everything out loud. All right, you guys, I hope these tips, tricks, things will help you with adoration, maybe give you something to think about, something to try. I highly recommend it. Everything I've mentioned in this video, I have done myself, so if you could give this video a thumbs up, hit subscribe and hit the bell so you never miss one of my videos, I would really, really appreciate it. I know I have been a little MIA on the YouTube videos. It's been so busy. I mean, literally, I moved into this apartment, like, I'm so excited. But I really probably should have moved those balloons before I recorded this video, but I moved into this apartment. It's gonna be great. I can't wait to film more videos here, but it was a lot of work, and then work has been crazy and everything's been all over the place, so I'm sorry I've been neglecting my YouTube channel, but I am definitely coming back with a fury. I will make so many more videos. I am so excited for this summer. It's going to be the best summer ever. And yeah, I will talk to you next time. Bye.